Hey, Toothers, it's just me again. Listen, I don't even know uh, where to begin. I keep wanting to talk about something other than politics and world news, but it seems to really be weighing heavy on me. I'm definitely one of those people that firmly believes that this election is super duper important. It could literally be our last one if Trump gets in, and if not, then the next one could be our last one because I don't think these Project 2025 far right-wing bozos are going to give up. The election itself sounds like it's going to be a nightmare in general. Not for nothing. The last coup attempt wasn't great, but people are way more interested and excited about doing it now. So, this whole next election experience is going to be something for the history books. And I hope that the people who like having democracy come out on top. And I'm not trying to indicate that, Kamala is going to be a tremendous leader. I think she'll be fine. But I think she'll be fine as any other politician who's been able to achieve that level. She'll be kind of the same or sort of similar, at least, to what you had with Biden, I think, with some differences. I think I've already mentioned that. But she's going to continue to pay Israel to ethnically cleanse the land that they were given as a response to the Holocaust. The apartheid state that they've been running for 60, 70 years and the genocide they've been going through for a year without any signs of stopping or slowing down, with spreading out the war to Beirut and to Iran at the very least. Who else is going to join in? I've seen too many videos now of journalists in heavy armor talking to Palestinians on the ground, talking to Israelis on the ground about, for the Palestinians, how horrible this all is, how many people they've lost, how many friends they've lost, how many family members they've lost, how long they've been traveling, how hard it is to find food. Just horrendous conditions for them. And then, Israelis who are super excited to get rid of them. There are some who are super excited to see them dead. You've got IDF soldiers doing horrible things to prisoners. You've got, I don't mean dancing when someone dies. They've shown people, throwing little parties when another part of Gaza gets blown up, right? This is a really terrible, terrifying event taking place, and we, as a nation, as government nation, we are supporting it. We are throwing billions of dollars at them to keep going. And any talk of, hey, maybe they should slow down, get you branded anti-Semitic, which isn't true. Anti-Zionist, anti-Israeli, which is not true. It's anti-genocide. It's pro, two-state solution. Not for nothing. I really wonder if they had negotiated a two-state solution when Hamas showed up in the first place, would we be here? So I'm still not excited about that. I don't understand. Look, I get hate and I get wanting control and wanting to have your people have a place. I understand that, but this is not. War is how maps get changed, but we're watching something that's not war. It's worse. And we're watching it in real time, and it's being, the revolution, not the revolution being televised, the genocide is being televised. So if you're a believer in the second coming of Christ or the second Exodus, then maybe you're content with this idea because Israel's got to do a bunch of stuff to fulfill a prophecy. Not that other prophecies have been fulfilled or will get fulfilled, but you have that inkling. I feel bad for you. you need to take a step back, right? Because for those, especially those who are big fans of the things that Jesus said, I don't think Jesus would be on board with this. I think he'd be like, oh yeah, slaughter the people. Yeah, remember when I fed all the people and said, take care of the fatherless and the widow. I didn't say make people fatherless and widows. But I have a very cynical opinion about the deity in the Hebrew scriptures. I seem kind of a dick, so this seems pretty on par. I mean, this is probably fairly normal for those who side with that. And I realize I'm generalizing in horrible ways, and it's not anti-Semitic. It's just using holy books to justify terrible acts. I see a bunch of videos on Muslims doing similar stuff, talking similar points. I'm seeing them in other countries talk about having a new caliphate and wanting Sharia law, and I don't speak Arabic, so I'm entrusting the places that I'm going that they're providing me with what's actually going on, and it's not some other older protest about something else, right? So be mindful of what you're taking in for information, but also understand this genocide. We're watching it. This isn't happening, and we're seeing clips of it after camps are being rescued by the American European infantry, like in World War II, where we'd get the news of the camps after the fact, after they were liberated and shut down, and whoever was left was rescued. Right? We're watching this happen. Sorry, it's one of those things, right? I mean, I'm not Palestinian or Jewish, but I am a person, and I feel like there's a pretty simple metric here about caring about other people. And this is not this. I see no morality or ethic. I guess I can see it ethically, but I see no morality in this whatsoever. And one of Trump's former whatevers, I can't even think of it now. Is he general? I forget. They brought up I guess the fact, right? I mean, so far it's hearsay about about Trump saying he wished he had Hitler's generals, and my question is because he likes being, almost assassinated by his people, because they did try to kill Hitler a couple times, but I'm sure the implication is more that they are loyal to a fault and willing to cause death and destruction and chaos, right? They were not nice people. They were not trying to advise him to not be a giant dick. They were very supportive of what he was up to. So, there's that to consider. And given how how far right people are so out in public now, they're so out of the woodwork. They're not hiding. They're not pretending anymore. And look, Nazis supporting Trump doesn't mean Trump's a Nazi, but Trump's got a lot of his own fascistic qualities to him that makes him a perfect, his own vice president called him America's Hitler at one point, which honestly should tell you about how much you should rely on J.D. Vance for anything, for any kind of reliability or any kind of backbone or spine or not policy. What's the word? What is word? I can't think of it. He's just got now. His priorities are garbage. And Tim Walz is the whitest guy right? So, I honestly, even if we were picking by VP, I would be voting the Democrat ticket for a couple reasons. I think that they, by and large, align more with what I want on most things. Clearly not Israel, which I've already discussed. And they're, inclined to keep things going as they're going. I would have been excited to see someone actually come out who wants to quite actually literally drain the swamp and not just line their pockets with it. Because that's all Trump did. That's all Trump's done. That's all Trump's going to do. He gave the COVID tests to Putin when they were really difficult to get our hands on them here in the United States. He helped broker deals with Putin and OPEC, which actually helped make our gas prices go up. I mean, He's the tariffs on China I already talked about. I mean, he's not good for this country. He's not good for any country. He's just trying to get his own pockets lined and his own power built. That's all he cares about. And for the people who still don't see that, I mean, you'd have to really not be looking, or literally only taking in news sources that are admitted propagandists for Trump. It's $1 billion out of Fox News because they are a propaganda machine. They've admitted to it. They're not news, they're entertainment. If you're still watching Fox News like they're giving you news, again, they are. And look, I'm not by any stretch saying, you should be watching MSNBC or CNN. You should be taking in multiple sources. You should be leveraging sites like Ground News, who's not a sponsor, and I'm not even paying for them, right, to give you some insight into how news sources lean in a different direction, right? They lean left, they lean right. There are a few that are as center-minded as possible, and Ground News provides you with a lot of that insight, even on their free functionality, because there are stuff that the left isn't talking about, the stuff the right isn't ever going to talk about, and it's useful to get your hands on some of that stuff. I mean, I one of the recordings I wanted to do involved a few news stories I looked up on Ground News, but so many other things were happening. It's hard to get to some of the other little things. And, there are Republicans who are already still supporting Trump. They're still like, well, it's about results. It's not about whether he's fascist or pro-Hitler or not. It's what is he going to do in office? He's going to make himself rich. And, he may give some cash to sycophants so that they, like a mob boss, right, keep following him. It's very disheartening. And, honestly, there's not much to say about Harris, right? I think that's the other problem. I think at some point, Democrats largely forgot how to run for election. I think it was around Hillary and Trump, right? Was it 2016? They forgot how to run for elections. They keep making these stupid choices or no choices. It's just the most ridiculous thing in a lot of respects. So again, I know people want to vote their conscience, or they want to vote to prove a point. But I mean, honestly, this is about fascism. This is about trying to give a big finger to fascism in the United States. Which, even if Trump doesn't win, it's not going to be that big a finger. It'll be a pretty narrow margin, I think, which is also terrifying. And what the fuck? Yeah. So I don't know. That may be all I have for now. I keep ingesting this information because it's what's out there. I have been watching some videos talking about some of these right-wing grifter, jackass, asshole, fascist, avowed Nazis, misogynists. The amount of stupid going on out there, and the amount of people that are lapping it up is amazing to me. And the inability to kind of reason on your own and to have a metric that's more compassion and empathy than me. I definitely understand having to protect number one, but you're not the only number one. So having some compassion for people, even if you can't put your money where your mouth is, if you can put your mouth and some of your time to it, that's better than nothing. That's better than demeaning them or saying that these people shouldn't exist or they get what they deserve, right? Do they? What do you know about it? What information have you gathered to come to this conclusion? Are you just listening to hate preachers and con artists, religious people from the pulpit who are just after your money anyway? Are you listening to an obvious long-term con man who does not care about the lies that he spreads, just as long as he's in power? This goes beyond normal political rhetoric, normal, I'm gonna no new taxes. Shut up. We all know that you're going to make claims so that we elect you. And then you're either not going to actually do anything to fulfill those, or you're going to be stopped by the rest of the system from doing those things. It's so stupid. One of the few things I still agree with Rogan on is the idea of a president is a stupid job, and nobody should actually want it. Um, it's dumb. I don't know. There are other democracies that do things in a way that I find more appealing, but they also have their drawbacks. So it just goes back to the whole idea that anything people are going to create is going to have problems. There's going to be schisms. There's going to be, it's going to end. It's not sustainable unless you find some way to keep feeding the beasts, which we have plenty of, and we're finding ways to do it. My brother made a point where it feels like we're going back to the Middle Ages, where we had actual landlords and serfs. Just looking at how the real estate is functioning and how there's more and more of these companies. I was watching a video. I keep meaning to write down this quote, but I think it's something like, as a landlord, somebody who owns a piece of property I can rent out. Other people have to work and then pay the mortgage to pay my mortgage on this property that they're living in. And as part of that payment from all of the tenants, I pay a management company to deal with it. And then I get like tax incentives. There was some other aspect that I don't remember. But it's like that's real estate, the real estate game. It's allowing people. Now look, I don't want to downplay the idea of an investment, but I mean we live in a country where there are homeless people. We live in a country that does not like having homeless people around, but they won't do anything to not have homeless people. They just try to hide them or arrest them or push them away or not care about the fact that how many of them have mental illness, how many of them have developed mental illness. This whole capitalism and competition thing, it makes us societally selfish, right? When we're born, we're selfish, but that's largely survival instinct, in my opinion, right? We want what we want, and I believe we have to be taught to some extent that we're not the only one, and maybe we have kids that recognize that you're not the only person, but a lot of kids don't. A lot of kids have to be taught that. They have to be instructed in that, and they may develop empathy and compassion. They may be a sociopath. I don't know. So, we still have to be mindful of that. And I just think that the love of money is the root of all evil, right? It's greed. It's other people's greed, and it trickles down, and then we're told to hate the other because those at the top don't care. They'll keep getting paid. They'll still make their money. In fact, for a lot of these, again, these like the Daily Wire and Steven Crowder and Tim Pool, these idiots whose whole thing is just trying to continue the hate and continue the lies and continue to say stupid stuff that people are like, here's a bunch of money. Tell me more. And I don't have cable, right? So, I'll see clips from CNN, who I trust more than MSNBC, but that's a pretty low bar. But I'm definitely more into AP and Reuters in terms of who's more centrist in terms of reporting and verbiage and stuff. But anyway, I should finish for now. I'll just ramble more and more about other dumb stuff that I need to get more organized on. But vote, complain about Israel's apartheid, genocide, all that. Try to pick a candidate that'll at least respect that there is a democracy, and down ballot, try to do the same thing, and really start writing to people, start calling people, start sending emails. Like, listen, we need stuff changed. This is stupid. Stupid. Good. Now I'm by the Trump store. One of the Trump stores, anyway. Yeah, I think I've had enough. All right. Thanks, everybody.